People are calling Wake Up Dead Man Rian Johnson's most personal and emotional Knives Out mystery yet. Wake Up Dead Man is directly inspired by his evangelical upbringing. It explores Christian love, Christian hate, faith, doubt, corruption, forgiveness. And while Dead Man has a dark setting and overall cynical view of things, Rian Johnson still fights tooth and nail to make us believe in the inherent goodness of people. Just like he did 6 years ago when he made us fall in love with Knives Out. Hi, my name is Toby. It's so nice to meet you. Welcome to my review of Wake Up Dead Man. If you're viewing this on YouTube, this video contains complete and utter and thorough spoilers of everything that happens in the movie. If you would like a spoiler-free version, I have a shorter, cut-down version over on my TikTok. Let me just start off by saying I was very hyped for Wake Up Dead Man. I knew practically nothing about it, but all I knew was that I needed to see it. This was not a movie that I felt like I needed to vet beforehand to decide if I really wanted to see it. I knew I wanted to see it, and I wanted to just experience it completely as its own thing. And I wanted to see it in theaters, which I did, so take that, Netflix. Take that streaming platforms. I really stuck it to Netflix by seeing the Netflix movie in the theater. And yeah, it fulfilled every expectation. I loved every second of it. Every critique that I have for this movie is so incredibly minor and very much a nitpick. This is the kind of movie that I'm gonna remember going to see in theaters and the feeling that it gave me for years and years and years. The easiest way I can describe what I loved about Wake Up Dead Man is that I loved it because I loved Knives Out. When you watch Knives Out for the first time, there is just an undeniable movie magic just baked into that film. I don't know what kind of pixie dust Rian Johnson was sprinkling on that script as he wrote it, but it feels like it was meant to enchant me personally. Like, obviously the plot is good. The mystery is good, but there's something about the way that Rian Johnson writes characters that just speaks to the soul of humanity and speaks to me personally. I'm a huge optimist. I'm a chronic idealist, and I will never be convinced of the inherent badness of humanity. And there's been a lot of media that's come out in the last 6-7 years or so. I cannot say 6-7, can I? I just can't think of a better number to say. My brand is already fucked. There's been a lot of media that's come out lately that feels like it's so catered towards that worldview. Like, humanity is so starved for hope that we keep greenlighting Hope Corps edits. The big ones, of course, are like Everything Everywhere All at Once. I've been really into Dr. Stone for this reason. And Knives Out. As much as Knives Out was a sardonic view on like rich people and look at these assholes, it's also about Marta and her inherent goodness. As much of a romp and a rare and good time Glass Onion was, it was definitely a deviation, in my opinion, from what made Knives Out so great. Glass Onion lacked that magic that I was talking about. It lacked the magic of Knives Out, in my opinion. Let me put it this way. If Glass Onion had come out first and then Knives Out, I definitely would have gone to see Knives Out, but I would have considered it a huge improvement on Glass Onion. Does that make any sense? Glass Onion lacked the magic of Knives Out because the true magic of Knives Out was Marta. Knives Out works because of its focus on Marta. The story is not just told from her perspective, but we form our opinions on every character in the movie based on their interactions with her. She is so just inherently lovable that every character's relationship with her defines them. Like, we're able to be mad at them for taking advantage of Harlan and just generally being shitty people, but the moment that they start being mean to Marta, that's where we draw the line. Rian Johnson is insanely good at writing characters that are so ridiculously good and pure, yet realistic, that they fight the cynicism in my brain simply by existing. The great twist of Knives Out was not who the killer was. It was not Harlan giving Marta the house and everything in the will. The part that sticks in my brain, the great twist, is the moment that Marta finds out she switched the medicines back. It was Benoit Blanc looking her in the eyes and telling her, "You are a good nurse. You are such a good person that you saved his life without even realizing it. And if he had listened to you, he would still be alive today." That lives in my head rent-free. That's magic. That is a character-driven plot. That is good defeating evil to an absurdly optimistic, yet truthfully hopeful degree. My personal flaw is that I'm such an idealist that I think that any media that says humanity is inherently bad is, like, factually wrong. And so Knives Out makes Rian Johnson a genius in my eyes. Glass Onion, in contrast, is not quite as about anybody. It's about Helen, it's about Andy, but there is much more of a focus on Benoit Blanc and the ensemble antagonists, and less of a focus on the protagonist, as well as a bigger focus on, like, humor and cheeky digs and bits. Helen is ostensibly the protagonist, and yet she's very mysterious. We barely know anything about her. We know more about the disruptors, and we spend more time focused on them than we do our POV character, or the person who's supposed to be our POV character. For the most part, we're omnipotent, and when we're not, half the time, Blanc is the POV character. While that's not, like, inherently a bad thing, I think that Knives Out proves that Benoit Blanc is better as a supporting character, and Glass Onion proves that disconnecting emotionally from the protagonist weakens the story. Glass Onion is also a lot more angry than Knives Out. Again, not inherently bad, but what I loved about Knives Out was the warmth of it. The fact that it was essentially about radical kindness. I was missing that when I watched Glass Onion. So in that sense, Wake Up Dead Man is a return to form. A good amount of what I love about this film is how similar it is to Knives Out. It's like Rian Johnson remembered what made Knives Out so good and decided to make another Knives Out movie. It feels like a much truer sequel and a much more authentic continuation to Benoit Blanc, his personality, the draw of Knives Out, etc., than Glass Onion was. It has the same magic. It has the same pixie dust. The scene where Father Judd prays with Louise. The emotional warmth of it, Judd realizing how important it is to him personally to take this phone call with a stranger. The impact of the obvious unsaid joke about how talkative she is, contrasted with him talking to her for what seems like hours based on the time skip. When he has been accused of murder and is actively trying to clear his name, that moment has the same magic to me as Benoit Blanc telling Marta that Harlan would still be alive if he had listened to her. They hit the same. That is not the sequel just following the same formula to try to get the same fans to come back to say that the same things that they saw again were just as good. That is Rian Johnson creating magic twice. Father Judd is radically kind, much like Marta, and his kindness takes the same grit and determination that Helen's revenge does. Marta's goodness is inherent. It is the sun around which the plot revolves. Father Judd fights to be good. He fights to be kind in a world that wants him to just fight. And I will say this, if I see one more of you motherfuckers put an edit of Father Judd to The Boxer by Simon and Garfunkel on my goddamn For You page, I might actually do something drastic. This movie was very dark, but also very warm. There is something about it that speaks to me very personally as somebody who grew up in a fairly loving, non-denominational church and still, despite not being religious, looks back on the church very fondly, while also acknowledging like the many critiques that one could have about the church as an institution, especially nowadays. I am obsessed with media that shows and goes out of its way to depict what religion could be when wielded by the right hands. Father Judd is what everyone wishes every priest on earth could be. Somebody whose entire job is bringing comfort to people, somebody who is radically kind, somebody who is forgiving even when it's really hard. The world needs more forgiveness, and the world needs more people like Father Judd. God, I wish he was real. It's also really refreshing to see a film that is about faith and about questioning faith that doesn't end in like, maybe I'm still a believer, maybe I'm not. Like, the one true constant in this film is that Judd never wavers in his faith. And because he has such a strong idea about what his faith is, and because we like his version of faith so much, we never want him to waver from it. You're cheering him on because he's so faithful. And it is really refreshing, again, to see kindness and forgiveness depicted as strength rather than weakness, because I truly believe that's true. A lot of the performances in this film were really good too. I mean, Josh O'Connor, like, come on. His performance is very warm. It's very sincere. He does a great job of matching the more irreverent moments as well, while also being like extremely grounding, especially when Benoit Blanc is getting a little bit silly. Despite how much we love Benoit Blanc being a little silly, I do think it was really needed, this moment of being like, actually, hey, by the way, these are real people, and this is a real situation that I'm actually going through. And you are not taking this seriously enough, and you are turning me into a bad person by proximity. So lock in. I was really in love with the way that the specific type of corruption that the church can go through was depicted. It was not overly villainous. It was not silly. It was like, this is what the alt-right pipeline looks like. This is what cult tactics in your average, everyday small town church look like. This is real stuff that could really happen. And this is why people act this way in response to it. Especially everybody's boy Samson was like such a good way of looking at a villain like Monsignor Wicks. Because even good people believe in bad people for good reasons. Okay. Negative critiques. Number 1, this is my biggest critique of this film. That's 50% silly and 50% serious. So here it is. There is no canonically gay Benoit Blanc content in this film. So what do you have to say for yourself, Ryan? Hugh Grant does not make an appearance. Philip is not mentioned. And this is something that's been messing me up for the last couple of days since this film has been out and I've been watching TikToks about it. I rewatched Glass Onion in preparation for Wake Up Dead Man. And when this moment was coming up, I was like, here it comes. I was with my boyfriend and I was like, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. Here comes the gay moment. And then it was nothing. Like, Philip calls him Blanc. He doesn't call him by his first name. And so after watching that, I was like, my memory must be foggy. This must have been like people putting on their queer reading glasses and like looking for something. And it's like, oh, and they were roommates. And that's like the silly thing. It's not actually canon. And then I saw people talking about it on TikTok. It is canon. Like, Hugh Grant came out and confirmed it. He's like, no, they're husbands. And I'm like, we can do better than that, you guys. Like, we can do better than that. Like, if we want to confirm it, we can do better than that, I think. I think we can. Because I was like, were we insane? Were we literally making stuff up? Did everybody on Tumblr make up the queer coding here? Is this not an and they were roommates situation, but actually just a roommate situation? Yeah, they're confirmed husbands. And if that's the case, then why is my plate empty, Ryan? I'm hungry. I'm starving. Give me that good queer content. Because here's the serious part. Confirming after the fact in interviews means materially nothing. That is J.K. Rowling behavior. Is that too mean? Should I not say that? Like, at the very least, put the actors in the same room. And like, I would have been more forgiving if you had given us something in this third movie. But like, we're doing the Catholic episode. This is the movie that's set in the church and is critiquing the corruption of the church. And we're not gonna touch on gay people?
Hey, yo!
Pause. Seriously though, let me like lock in. Even if we don't want to get into gay struggles, because I know that people are like tired of gays struggling on screen all the time. Me too, girl. I do think that just confirming in interviews in general is pathetic. Can I personally think of a way to shoehorn in Benoit Blanc's queerness into this film? No, I'm not a writer. I just want to point out how silly it is to just like say it happened after the fact and like, oh yeah, that was our intention. And then like, I get that we were doing a Hugh Grant cameo and he said that he showed up on set for like a couple of hours, but I just think it's lame. And I think that I will think it's less lame if we get more in the future. So basically what I'm saying is make them kiss if you're not a coward, Ryan. Why do I get the feeling that Hugh Grant would never agree to that? Daniel Craig, yes. Hugh Grant, maybe not. Can you imagine? I'm sorry, wait, imagine Daniel Craig just trying desperately to convince Hugh Grant to kiss him on the mouth. Please, please just sign the contract. Please just do it, Hugh. It's for the fans. Can you show up to set for a couple of hours and kiss me for like 1 second? It doesn't even have to be a kiss. Like, I don't know, maybe have Hugh Grant like help him put his coat on as he's rushing out the door or something cute and domestic like that. I just want something. Okay, first serious critique. I was not a fan of Andrew Scott in this film. I'm sorry. I love him too. I love him just as much as the next guy, and I think it is kind of cool that they put him in the Priest film, but he is not believable as a libertarian dipshit. It just doesn't work for me. Like, he's not doing anything wrong on paper. Obviously, he's like a professional, but there's just something about his like sincere and somewhat affable personality that makes him feel very out of place when he starts saying things like liberal hive mind in an American accent. Again, there's nothing in like his technique as an actor that I can point out that he's doing wrong. It's just, they just cast the wrong guy. They just cast the wrong guy. My first instinct is to say they should have cast like a little older, like lean into the like Uncle Jerry who lives out in the woods and watches Fox News all day type beat. The problem with that being that I'm kind of describing Josh Brolin's type of villain energy. They probably wanted more age contrast, especially with, you know, the body double switcheroo. But I think if they wanted to hang out in Andrew Scott's like age group, they needed someone with more of like a slimy, kind of annoying charisma. Someone with more like the energy of Matt Walsh or other people I could name. Honestly, if they hadn't already used Edward Norton in Glass Onion, I think he could have been perfect for that. Maybe even like Kieran Culkin, giving the like fast-talking, well-spoken, that like slimy charisma. Even if they had like put Jeremy Renner over here instead of over there, I think it could have worked. I feel like I didn't like Jeremy Renner much here either. Jeremy Renner was not giving the like nice guy turned bad energy that I was looking for from him. He just seemed a little bit cold and distant in general. I never got like the heartbreak out of him that I wanted. A lot of people also didn't like Mila Kunis in this, my boyfriend included. I didn't think she was horrible, just kind of whatever. This next critique, I am fully willing to accept that I'm wrong. Some of the lines that were given to Benoit Blanc as the religious skeptic had a little bit too much like smart character think religion stupid energy. It did kind of have like a checkmate Christians energy that isn't necessarily wrong. It just rubbed me personally the wrong way. Like, meditations on faith and the existence of God in like a healthy debate between two characters that we respect is one thing. Quips about God being a fantasy said in the cadence of BBC Sherlock is a whole other ballgame. Again, you're not really doing anything wrong. I just found it a little bit annoying and grating, but I'm probably just being too sensitive. I just wanted to put it out there. There is definitely something to be said about the way that this film makes you check your own biases. You want a satisfying conclusion. You want revenge. You want these people to be held accountable. You want the big comeuppance like we get in Knives Out. Marta gets the house and nobody inherits anything. And then because there's no satisfying conclusion, he makes you forgive them. Judd forgives them. The story forgives them, and you have to forgive them too. Sometimes there is no comeuppance, and sometimes all you can do is just forgive. Overall, I am continuously impressed with these films. I like the way that Rian Johnson has like trained me to watch the details. The way that I'm sitting in my chair in the theater being like, okay, I know that's going to be important. That's a Chekhov's gun. Like trying to figure out the details and see like, what does he want me to see? What am I supposed to pay attention to? Because I know it's all going to be there. It's all going to make sense. And I'm going to be like kicking myself for missing something. And his ability to train his audience to think that way, in contrast to something like BBC Sherlock, which is all about like being smarter than your audience, like I really, really appreciate the way that Rian Johnson is like trying to bring us into the process. It just makes that experience that much more engaging and captivating. And it makes the firing of that Chekhov's gun all the more satisfying because you're like, I saw it. I saw the Chekhov's gun. Oh my God. There's been this critique for film very recently that's like, people are afraid of doing something that the audience can predict because they want to be smarter than their audience. Rian Johnson is absolutely not that way. He's going to give you all the clues. You're going to be able to try and solve it yourself. And he's also going to still be smarter than you. And he's still going to do something that you didn't expect. I truly hope that Rian Johnson continues to get bolder. I hope that he continues to get more personal. And I hope that he stays as warm and loving as these amazing films that we've seen so far. Anyways, I love this film like a nutso crazy amount. I feel like I barely scratched the surface on what was so good about this film. I just wanted to have like a take that wasn't just like, oh, the lighting was really, really good. But like the strongest thing that I felt towards this film was its connection to Knives Out. Let me know what you thought in the comments. And thank you for being here. Oh my God. Like I said, my New Year's resolution this year was to finally put out a YouTube video because I've been dreaming and hoping and praying and wishing and fantasizing about making video essays for like the longest time. So subscribe if you like what I had to say and you want to hear more about what I have to say. Follow me on TikTok. I post silly analytical takes on there as well in much shorter form. Thank you for watching. My name is Toby and I'll see you next time something catches my eye.